We will call this March 5th Commission meeting to order. Commissioner Kip, lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First item on the agenda, we have to discuss the deed for a reconveyed tax deed property and discuss ag land assessment potential settlement. Are those two separate issues, or do we?
I believe so. I'm not sure why they were on there together. The ag land assessment issue, we're still waiting for them to sign the settlement agreement. I think they've agreed to it, but somebody else is now out of town,
So that's just kind of put off until we get that part?
Yeah, I'm going to put it on the agenda for next week.
Okay, so
it'll
we'll
be
just
signed by then.
So then we're talking about the reconveyed tax deed property. Dean, what do we?
That was the Solway property, I believe, was what Max intended for. She had asked me last week why none of that signed. I said, I don't know. The family apparently hasn't come up with that agreement and signed everything. I said, the county did them a favor by doing it, and there just probably needs to be a deadline on it for them to get everything signed. It's not that difficult to have 4 or 5 siblings sign something. It's been probably a month or so now.
Did we furnish the document for them to sign?
I talked to the brother, I told him I would, and he said he was going to talk to his sisters, and they just don't get back to me. The brother, not the one that was here, I talked to his brother, I called his brother. But
Do we need to get in touch and just say, hey,
I have a suspicion that the sisters don't want to sign it, but I don't know.
Well, there's only so much we can do. I mean, the county did them a favor. I'm not going to draft legal documents for a party I don't represent, saying I'm not allowed to do that. So they need to do their thing on their end, and if they're not going to do it, I think we'll just move forward.
Can we just draft a letter to give them April 1st deadline, or a deadline, just so that if it doesn't, we can put an end to it? Because if we don't do something, it could go on for 2, 3 more months.
Sure, you can do that.
Because this is one of the 4 we pulled from the sale, right?
But you can't, the taxes have been run through, so you don't have an option of selling it again.
No, but you can go back into the, right now it's not deeded to anybody.
That would have been my question there. The deed hasn't been transferred, or hasn't been any action on it whatsoever.
It's in Brown County's name.
And we have the funds yet?
We ran them through. You told me to
Okay.
run through.
Yeah.
So how do you force them to transfer the deed? That's the question.
Well, the county owns the property right now.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Got the money
That's
and the
problem
property.
for those folks.
Yeah.
But they owed the money regardless,
Oh, okay.
if you look at it that way.
Yeah.
I think you're right. We just need to draft a letter, give them a deadline. April 1st, is that reasonable, you guys think?
It's fine with me.
Gives them 3 weeks.
Who would draft that letter, Chris?
I can if you want me to.
Well, I don't know necessarily put it on your duties. I mean,
I don't think there's any point in sending it to Bob. I think he needs to send it to the brother, Frank, because I just don't think Bob understands.
I mean, that's one of the problems we have is we don't know who all the siblings are. I mean, it was in the mother's name who was deceased, and it was up to the one sibling that was here to get the other siblings to sign.
I don't think he particularly cares because he's not living in the house, and the one that is living in the house doesn't understand.
So no good deed goes unpunished. I mean,
Keeps going around and around.
do we have any records of who the siblings are? Can we
Well, I
see
know
them
one.
on?
I know what. I have the phone contact information because I've been talking to the one brother. The 2. I thought he said the 2 sisters are in Denver and somewhere else.
Can we do the letter and CC them on it and see where it goes?
Please see him where.
Copy whoever
Well,
we
can we get
have.
an address form if we...
addresses, yeah.
If we have the 2 brothers, copy both of them. If we have a sister, copy them. Whoever we know, copy whatever siblings we have. And the others, I mean, you can only do what you can do.
Put the April 1st deadline. If there isn't anything done by then, I guess we just have to act.
yeah, I could have the sheriff contact Bob too, and whoever else he lives with.
That was
That's how we
my
got
other
everything done.
suggestion. Maybe have the
Okay.
sheriff. I mean, isn't that something when you have to have the sheriff contact somebody so they transfer a deed? Wow.
No, I'm thinking just the sheriff was the one that kind of was the go-between last time because he knows the family.
Sounds good. Do you need a motion on that, or? Okay.
We got a few minutes before our next thing. Kathy, would you want to take care of some of your stuff?
Yeah, we have the joint Aberdeen City meeting minutes from February 20th.
Thanks, guys.
And the joint Frederick City meeting minutes and the county general meeting minutes.
Move them.
Second.
Moved by Kippley, second by Piker to approve the minutes for the Frederick and the joint city.
And then the county general.
And the county general. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Kippley, second by Piker to approve claims and payroll. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
HR report.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Kippley, second by Piker to approve the HR report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have the sheriff's report for
So mo-
January.
So move.
Second.
I had a laugh. They come over the phone every day, the jail count 661 or something it said. I think it was 61.
sounds
yeah.
bad enough, yeah. Did you see that?
One extra digit.
Yeah.
Motion by Piker, second by Kippley to approve the sheriff's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have abatements.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Piker, second by Kippley to authorize the chair to sign the abatements. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
There was a lease.
Okay, what one?
Expo building for RDO, I
For
think
RDO
it was.
equipment
I'll
show?
move it.
I'll second.
Well, hold off on that. I had a chance to look at it this morning. I only get one page of it. I'm assuming there's more than that, but it doesn't have all of the information filled out.
Yeah, there's a full lease in this packet here.
Is everything,
Maybe we should give it to him quick and come back to it.
well, you might have to come back here next week, because there's some
It's got to be right down here.
there's some stuff that's missing.
It was towards the front, but
There it is.
here's the full lease if you want to take a look. Quiet.
I'm assuming it's the same lease that's used every year, but if you look in paragraph 2, it says terminating on the 20th day of March 2019 at 2 p.m.
Oh, good catch, yes.
That's all I could see, except
Why don't we put it off a week?
Yeah, we can talk.
What's the date?
The date?
When do they want it?
March 28th, so you got...
27th and 28th, yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to want to probably change the date it was entered into, too. Kurt can handle, or should be able to handle all that, and then he can get it to me to review. I hadn't seen it until Lynn gave it to me.
Sounds good.
Okay, that'll be put off till next week then.
And then there was the fair contract.
Move them.
Second.
Moved by Kippley, second by Piker to approve the fair contracts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's everything I have.
Okay. Gary?
Just need a personnel exec. I don't know if you want to do one of them right now.
Well, we only have 5 minutes. That'd probably take longer than that. Probably better wait till I need to get in and then run everybody else late and have people sitting around. I guess, we got a few minutes. One of the things I think probably we need to decide on is the 24/7. We talked about moving them out of the Millen building. And to do the upgrade at the Blue building, we were looking at minimum of $50,000 because we have to add an ADA bathroom and put up walls and stuff. So I guess we need to find out where we're going. One of the other options, and I guess would be, we just kind of explored the idea of coming out the southwest or southeast door over here and using the old emergency management offices down there and have it done there. I don't know if that's going to affect security, but they would still be secured from going over that way. They couldn't get to the courtroom because that door would be secured. The other option is 24/7 and just let them have the building the way it sets without going to $50,000-$60,000 to remodel. So I think that's something that, do we get with 24/7 and say, hey, these are the options? One of the other things that was mentioned, and this wasn't my idea, but I did pick it up from somebody within the system of the county, is the Sally Port over by the sheriff's park. I guess there's room there. I don't know if that would conflict with the sheriff. We'd have to check with them, but those are about the 3 options that I've kind of been experiencing with talking to different people. So I think those are something we need to put on our plate, because sooner or later we gotta move them out of the Millen building. I think probably the move isn't gonna happen till April 15th, when our communication center moves over to the new building, so, you know, we're coming up on 45 days, we should probably have a plan to look at getting that resolved.
Sure.
So, I suspect there'll be people listening to that, so I'll probably get my earful by the time I'm done today.
I think those are three options, though. I mean, at least throw it back in the court and see which one's the best that they think, with priority being, hey, where can we save a little money here? 'Cause that was the intent of moving out of the Millen building, sell that and kind of consolidate, so I guess.
So where are we at as far as selling the Millen building? I mean, is that something that we've moved on, or?
It's
been appraised.
platted.
It's platted and ready to go to bid whenever you want. The issue is obviously until everybody's moved, you really can't move them out yet,
We
so.
wait too long, the next thing you know, our appraisal won't be any good, we'll have to have it appraised again.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
thing we want to try. And then the other thing is weed and pest, we have to bring them in office, probably downstairs, probably the old, Scott Matson's old office would be an option down there. Then we have welfare, has to come over yet, which, teen court would have to have an office, so we need to start putting something together here so that on April 15th, when communication moves out, that's the last part moving out, we need to start clearing that Millen building out and decide what we're gonna do.
Well, and the
So,
thing about this option is there's some parking. Is there 2 spots where you used to park, Scott?
Yep.
And I don't know if 2 is quite enough, but at least it's something that's easy access. Maybe, should we throw an email out to Judy and the sheriff and explore those options and come back to us with a recommendation of which of the,
The city
bearing in
parking
mind,
lot-
priority number 1 is saving a little cash.
the city parking lot would probably be open at that time, because they don't come in and test from 6 to 9 in the morning. Well, there probably isn't gonna be a whole lot of traffic in that city parking lot at 6 in the morning. And then the other testing's at 6 PM at night till 9 PM. Well, that probably wouldn't have a lot of parking in there in that time frame either, so I think that would be, the parking issue probably isn't as big as what it sounds like when you figure. And I believe, Henry said most of the testing is done before 8 in the morning, because these people are going to work and stuff, so, you know, there probably wouldn't be a lot of issues with parking from 8 to 9 on that morning. And at night, I don't see any issue, because it's 6 to 9 at night.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
6 to 8, even the street's gonna be pretty much open, so.
And do we have any issues with unlocking this area, since the offices themselves are already locked down? All they can get in is, what, the bathroom and I don't know if that would be an issue or not, so something they can explore.
It
Most
should
of
affect,
the offices would be secure until, well, they're all secure throughout the day. I mean, obviously, the doors are locked, and, we've put in enough fobs and windows and stuff, but the other option and the only drawback would be to lock that interior door, but then we wouldn't have access for handicap. We'd have to, if somebody came in that needed the elevator, we'd have to unlock that door and get them to the elevator, which I don't know if that would be, how big of an issue that would be, but you could quarantine them off just to that area if you had to a little bit.
Well, my question with the ADA, and one thing we could ask Judy, is one of those flip-down chairs that you put on the rail. I know those are pretty reasonable as far as price goes. Does that count for ADA if we were to lock that area down? We could ask her that. Those mechanical...
I can't answer that. But you'd be able to lock the community room doors on that end. They lock from the inside, so you could keep everybody into that stairwell if you did something like that pretty easy.
I know I really struggle with spending $50,000 or whatever on the blue building back here, because it's just a storage building is what it is. I mean, it's not, the front part of it is, I know you use it, but boy.
the other issue would be, is
Looks
that's a
there.
gravel parking lot. You have people going in and out in the spring when that's muddy. You'd have nothing but a mud mess day in and day out over there, because it isn't made for that kind of traffic on gravel and mud. I mean, it would just be, it'd be a nightmare to keep that thing clean with all the people coming through it. There's probably roughly somewhere around 75 to 80, 90 people, depending on the term, coming in the morning and then again at night. Well, that's quite a bit of traffic on a gravel parking lot. And then again, will that parking lot hold up this spring when it gets soft? Are they gonna tear it up? I just don't think it's a good option for that, but it's an option they can look at.
You know, the other thing that I don't think we looked at downstairs was bathrooms. If we go into that, I mean, do we have to provide bathrooms for, I mean, are they doing it now on the checks?
There's bathroom facilities over there, and whether or not they use them, I guess, I don't think the testing uses them, whether or not somebody needs to use them because they're coming in and they just got out of bed, I don't know.
I mean, well, me, if there's a legal requirement for bathrooms, I can't imagine there.
Under ADA, I mean.
No, I would doubt that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously your employees
No, they-
there from 6 to 9 would probably need a bathroom.
Right, and they've said in the past, they do use the bathroom a fair amount.
Well, the nice thing about the office down there is that one door can be keyed, and the employees would have access to come through that door if it was secure to use the bathrooms. So the employees would have access to bathrooms, because that one door does go into the community room over to the bathrooms. But that could be secured or fobbed, and the only ones that would have access would be the employees with the fob going through, so the people that come in for the testing wouldn't be able to.
So I guess I have a question. Every day from 6 to 9 and like around
9 at night.
6 to 9 at night and then 6 to 9 in the morning,
Yep.
they would be having access to go through the community room.
No. The only ones that would be just your employees would have access to it, because that would be fobbed to come through.
My only concern was just on election day. The community room is buzzing, we can't have a bunch of people coming in and out of there disrupting the election.
No, they wouldn't be able to go through there.
They'd come in that door, go down the steps, test, go back out. The only thing is the employees would have access to a bathroom by using that door that comes out of Scott's office back there. That could be fobbed, and they would have access to the bathroom. The only other thing would be is ADA. If we had somebody that had to come in and test was ADA, would they have to be entered into the glass doors? We'd have to fob them, and they'd have to come into the elevator and use it. That would be, but I can't imagine that would be much of an occurrence.
And they could use this bathroom up here then too.
So I don't think that would bother anything. I think we can secure those doors that they couldn't come through during election day, election year. Anyway, just some thoughts. I think we want to at least put it out there and start throwing some ideas for people, so we get April 15th and we spend 3 more months deciding where everybody's going to go.
The other thing I'll just throw out is all the equipment at the Millen building. We gotta find, I mean, obviously we can temporarily put some stuff, but, you know, some of the stuff can be outside and then they can make a little room at the Blue Building. And I know I talked with Chief Deputy Lunsman and Schmidt when he was here, you know, some of our indoor stuff that, you know, like from the elements that needs to go in, we can put in the impound, but that ain't something they want to make a permanent fix, so we're going to have to do something with... Right now, we're taking our summer stuff over there during the winter and winter stuff in summer, you know, and things like that. We're, you know, it's just cold storage, but it's, you know, it's out of the elements and the snow and
And the Blue Building doesn't have room for that stuff.
Well, we're already moving trailers to get at this, to do, you know, yeah, it would be very, very tight.
What kind of cold storage is over there, Scott? What are you talking about when you move your stuff back? Is that stuff that could go, if we didn't use the 24/7 build, or the Blue Building for 24/7, is that stuff that could be stored in that big front area that would not be, you know, the open area, there's an office?
No, this would be boats and
Okay.
cribbing and things like that we, you know, rescue equipment, and I don't know what Judy's got over there. Judy's got the other bay
That's another question for Judy.
full of stuff.
Clothes, books, all kinds of stuff in there.
We've got stuff over there, you know, like river dragging equipment for that type of stuff that's stored over there. Again, that stuff can be put on a shelf somewhere, probably at the Blue Building if we put up some shelves or something, but again, I don't want to put a $40,000 rubber rescue boat outside in the snow, you know. It's got to go in somewhere, along with, like I said, there's a few other things that can't be out in the elements.
When you said Lunsman had been over there, some of it's under Sheriff's Department.
Well, we kind of, it's kind of between us and them.
Okay.
You know,
So
there's some fire department stuff over there with cribbing. You know, like I said, Judy's got stuff on both sides. Yeah.
So maybe mention that in the email too.
Maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to have Judy do a little inventory so we know what's over there.
Sure.
Okay, anyway, we'll start down that road. Next item on the agenda, we have Dan Rohrbach, discuss the Dakota Mile Shootout. Dan,
So what we're looking to do is,
you can just pull up a chair in the end down there, Dan, if you'd like.
I didn't know if you guys kind of wanted to see this. This would be the 4-mile stretch between County 14 and 16. It'd be for a Saturday morning, July 13th, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'd be
July
looking
13th, 8 a.m. to what?
to 1 p.m. to have a road closure for that 4 miles. We've already contacted about signage as far as road closed signs, things like that. Insurance, we have it lined up. They cannot move anything forward until we have the nonprofit done and taken care of. We haven't finished that until we get approval to see if we can run this race. What it is, it's a half-mile and 1 mile shootouts for top speed and matching speeds. I've done these events down in, there's 2 different ones in Nebraska. There's multiples throughout the rest of the U.S. And there's every single car that comes through gets inspected the day before for safety, suspension, everything like that.
Where do you do all that at?
That's, we're looking to have that done, it'll be over at Crawford's.
Truck?
Crawford's truck, yep. We'll be using a bay over there to run in. He's been in the drag racing scene since forever. We have a couple other mechanics lined up. They come in, check the cars, make sure everything's safe. They have full safety equipment, just like if you go to a drag strip, things like that. And when you go to do the runs, the tires are inspected on every car. Every tire's checked, every wheel bearing's checked. You grab the wheels, shake them around, make sure nothing came loose. To a previous run, or just from the drive to get there. All cars will be street legal, licensed, insured. I have like a copy of the release and waiver of liability as far as lawsuits that they use at these other shootouts. And it's just something, it'll be all nonprofit. We're looking to donate to rural fire, things like that. But, these events are kind of all over other locations, and we'd like to bring something like that here.
What's the east-west road that you're talking about there?
It is County 13, between 14 and 16 there. There's
Coleman
2
Park
different...
Road.
Yep, there's 2 different farmsteads it would affect for getting in and out. Todd Wren is one of them. I stopped and spoke with him just a few days ago. He said he has no issue at all. We told him if for some reason they do need to leave, they just need to notify us, and there will be a course worker at every intersection as well. So someone just doesn't decide, hey, we want to leave, and they pull out and someone's cruising. So we'll be able to get them out in between runs of vehicles. Another farmstead there, it's almost a quarter mile off the highway, Danielle Walls. We spoke to her. She had no issue with it. There's one that's further down the road. We do not believe it will affect at all.
To the west or east?
To the west, because the shootout will run only from the east to the west. That way we have that long runoff. Just in case there was some sort of a brake failure, we have that whole extra over a mile for shutdown. There would be a course worker at that other driveway intersection regardless. So if those people needed to leave, we'd have radio communication, and we'd be able to let them out, in between runs when no one is coming down the road. That's similar to the way they run it down in Nebraska to the events that we have done. One of them's a Big Blue Mile Shootout, and the other one's a Sand Hills Open Road Challenge.
so what about bystanders, and where do you prep these cars, and where do these cars sit? I mean, you can't have everything on the highway. Is there some land or something
So, okay, if you come up, basically where it runs down to Bath here, okay, this section here is a half mile. We're going to limit this event to 100 cars as of now, if we can get this approved. At 100 cars, this is a quarter mile between that intersection and where the start-finish would be. We can easily fit 25 cars per side, 50 cars per side on the road. So when everybody comes in to do the shootout, everyone gets lined up right there. That way we don't have to close any of the highway that runs down to Bath there, that County 16. That highway can remain open for people going around. Anyone coming from Columbia, they can go to that intersection, head south. So yeah, there's room there. It'd be July 13th.
And so you actually don't close anything till right at 8 a.m.?
8 a.m. is when the road would be closed.
And you can,
We would start at 9 o'clock and run till likely noon and have everything pulled down by 1.
so where's the best, what's our detour gonna be for those 5 hours?
The detour would be just 1 mile south. They'd have to take this gravel section here for 4 miles.
So that would be,
If they needed to use that.
is that 128th? What's that
To the south
gravel?
would be, yes, 128.
So the liability insurance, is that something that you carry, or is each individual that's doing this carries, or how is that working?
The
as far as
liability, that would be under the nonprofit group. It's covered $1 million per occurrence, and obviously if there's one occurrence, it's shut down and, nothing else. So it's not risks for the following.
So I suspect that you're carrying a $1 million liability. The people that are also racing would have to have liability as far as they're driving that car. Their insurance would also have to be
Correct. They're
some part of that also.
Yep.
Do they have to have special insurance to race this, or just whatever?
No,
insurance
it's
they
not a
have?
timed event. Your insurance coverage does take care of it.
So if green haulers coming down Tacoma Park Road blows the barricades, that I'm going to go ahead and assume we're properly designed and positioned, and piles into this, that's whose liability is that? I mean, I can buy into the people participating and they can sign waivers and do whatever, but a road closure that's not the county's, and we're going to have the general public coming down the road, and you can assume whatever you want, but I've rarely been on a road project where somebody at some point didn't blow through a barricade. Either moved them and drove around them. So that's, as far as the liability goes, that's the question I have. You said you talked to 2 or 3 landowners. There's 14 landowners, maybe 20 landowners in them 4 miles.
Correct. It's
More than just people going back and forth to their houses. To be quite honest, that's the least of my worries. If it's time to spray and somebody's got to go out and spray, are we completely severing the access for all these landowners for that whole time, and then they have to work their own egg production around it? And be quite honest, in 25 years of working for government road construction, never seen a 4-mile road closure, ever. You don't close that much road. You have to give people access. Now, West River, you can get away with it. The cow trail path that you guys race on in Nebraska, I've seen that. There's one intersecting road in 11 miles or something. You're not even talking apples to apples there. State 10 up there, west of 281, has the same amount of traffic on it as this road does. It's designed for higher speeds, it's wider. I'm curious if you thought about talking to the state about closing State 10 to do this.
We figured 10 would have more traffic, but when talking to them down in Nebraska, they said a state highway you can never get.
Exactly.
County is the only way.
That's kind of where I'm at, with the county road too.
And like I said, we talked to the people that have the homes right there. As far as contacting every landowner, we figured if we had some sort of approval, to get going to where this could be a possibility, we were going to contact landowners. The road pool assigns people moving a sign to try to drive around. There is a course worker stationed at every intersection, but I see someone's coming down the highway if they barrel through it, but roads get closed at times for...
The county closes roads, not little...
Correct. Well, this is all off county approval though, so...
That's, again, we're back to my question then. Are we putting our own insurance as liability for the general public that plows into this, that didn't sign a waiver saying it's okay for the road to be closed? We want to keep going. I got 10 questions for the commissioners and 10 for the racers. But this isn't something I'm in favor of. I'm a little distraught that this is the first I ever heard about it. I got an email from are you Dan, that sent me an email on January 8th about some barricades with no explanation really what they were for. It was just we needed some barricades. And to be quite honest, if I was going to do a county road project right now that required a 4-mile road closure, I'd have to go hire Clark Engineering. That's beyond, maybe you guys have somebody involved that would know that, but That's easily our largest liability is sign placement.
I'd been talking to Mike about this, and he made it sound like you knew what was going on, along with Doug Jones. They said, yeah, just contact him, he knows what's going on, and when I contacted you, you know, I told him, I was like, he had no idea what's going on here, what to do about it, but I was told, you know what's going on, and to contact you. You know, that's why I came out of blue like that. You know, Mike I'd talked to quite a bit on it. He followed, you know, like on Facebook, the events I'd gone to, things like that. And I talked to Dwayne a couple times. But
Dwayne forwarded me a letter about 4 years ago about something similar to this. They were only looking for 1 mile of road. I believe Doug in passing had called me, and everyone always asks about the barricades. That's like number 23 on my list. The barricades are, you know, used in the county's barricades. It's no big deal.
Isn't that road scheduled to be
And plus, yeah.
chip sealed or something?
Yeah, you guys,
What's
you know,
the date on that?
Everybody makes me fill out these 5-year plans, which have been really hard to just, you know, turn around and look at the map here. That road's getting chip sealed before July 1st, or excuse me, 4th of July, because oil availability goes way down after the 4th of July, so.
okay, well, that's things we didn't know about, and that's why we're here. We're just looking at trying to bring some sort of an event like this to the area. You know, just trying to see if it's something that we can do.
There's one other, you know, I've been trying to think of a precedent. That's another thing, you know, if Sable Church wants to have a Finlander Jesus Festival, are we going to let them close 2 miles of road up there to do that? Or the Columbia Clovers want to have a trail ride on the county ditch? I mean, are we going to be ready to close 3 miles to do that? The only time that I've ever seen this is the city of Warner closes the middle 24 feet of Main Street for a block. But that request comes from the people that live there and the people that want to use it, you know. It isn't the people from Hecla saying, hey, we want to close Warner Main Street so we can go down there and have a street dance. And that's kind of how this thing looks to me. It'd be different if in Ordway Township, I can't even get permission to drive cars and trucks in Ordway Township. And now you're going to get a 4-mile detour through Ordway Township. I just can't see that happening. So.
Does the chip seal, does that would affect your rate?
If it's
for
chip
sure.
sealed, then yeah, absolutely not.
And that was planned prior to July 1st? You're doing that right away this,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't look at the map, I know the nice maps are
The other thing would be is if you got a
there.
detour, that's a township road, you would then have to have approval
Township
from Ordway
approval.
Township.
And Cambria, because the last 2 miles of it would be on Cambria Township.
You know, I had a conversation, Doug Jones called me probably 3 months ago, and we had a conversation, and I know that he had been visiting with Mike, and I didn't think of it at the time of asking Doug, but, I mean, the road that he lives on, 47, over north of Ipswich, I mean, maybe Edmonds County would be more accepting to the idea, you know, it's just a thought that, you know, not to say that you shouldn't have your event, but maybe check with Edmonds County, check with Highway 47. I don't know.
47's that should be very highly trafficked though as well.
Oh, I don't think it'd have the traffic
That this does.
No.
that this does.
And I talked to Mr. Jones before Christmas too, so he was getting out and trying to get the word out, but I had said I'm on board with you, but make sure it's good with our highway superintendent. And so when I talked to Dirk and he didn't know much about it, I figured some communication had been lost there, because I should have looked at the map, and I think
Well,
we
he
just failed to.
he took off for down south to enjoy his winter and left us
Right.
with the rest saying, you know, hey, this is, you know, just call here, and this is taken care of, but
Yeah. Well, and I don't think it's a bad event. I just think there's a few things we need to get in a row first. And I would say, like you'd mentioned, the other landowners that are on that stretch, we need to get them on board and say, hey, because that is a big spraying time. A lot of people are going to be out and about with their equipment, and
but before we go and bother all of them, he's
Well, we can't
completely
this year.
against
I'm
it
saying
because
down-
of insurance and
Right.
things like that. We have to know if we're going to be able to possibly do this, you know, to begin with. If we go through all of that and it's still the same thing, we're not going to risk our insurance. Well, then there's no sense in wasting all that time.
sure.
We'd have to know if it's a possibility, you know, to begin with. But if you think a closure like that can't happen, then obviously we need to
Two
Somebody
things will
else
probably
there.
be the deterring factor. One would be the chip seal, because you're surely not gonna...
Right, so yeah, this year would be out, but if there was a possibility for the following,
And the second thing would have to be is the township road that you're gonna detour through, which we have no authority. You would then have to go to those townships and get approval from them, because it is their township road. If you're gonna detour traffic through there, and whether that's 10 more cars or 50, we don't know that, but they would have to be alert of that also.
and I think their insurance probably covers everything, other than somebody would have to check with our insurance carrier to find out if a truck comes barreling through and it's a signage issue and you guys approve the closure. Somebody would have to check with our insurance carrier. They may say no.
You've got emergency services too, whether it's fire or ambulance that would, you know...
We have that lined up. We already spoke with Aberdeen Ambulance on that. You know, proceeds we are looking at donating toward Columbia Fire, because they're right there in the area, and possibly getting volunteer for that, just to have on hand, since proceeds would be going there, but might have to donate to Ordwin Township. Well, and that's a possibility too. There's nothing wrong with that, but if he thinks that there's no possible way that a county road can be closed for 5 hours on a Saturday morning.
Not for this purpose, I don't. You can get 3 out of the 5 of the commissioners to vote for it. I will not support this. I got too many other problems right now.
Well, and to me, the chip sealing is the deal. I mean, we can't just change
Right.
our 5-year plan, that goes to the...
No, and that would be
But-
fine. I thought Doug saying this has to happen this year was a little pushy. I figured, to begin with, I was like, we're gonna at least be another year out. But, I mean, if there's no possibility to get that road, then obviously there's no sense in going further.
Well, you know, one of the things that, like Dirk said, you know, Brown County has 38,000 people traveling their roads. You get McPherson, Edmonds, you have a lot less traffic in that general area, and you know, there's probably a county highway that would work very well there. You'd be a little further out from the general population of Aberdeen. You know, that Highway 14 is like an interstate in the summer with trucks and everything going on.
Yeah.
It's a highly traveled road, and you have a lot of people that'll turn and want to go that way. Now they're detouring through Ordway, and I think you're going to have a problem with probably getting this through Ordway as far as a detour, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I think, you know, maybe looking at an alternative, maybe to a county that has less population that, you know, would probably suffice. I mean, all you need is a decent road that's,
Right.
you know, travelable and fairly safe for people at higher speeds. And I
The
mean,
county ain't got many of them decent roads, have they?
Well, the one we run down by Callaway for the sand hills, that road isn't the prettiest either, but it gets smooth over 100.
Yeah.
So.
That's the good thing, yeah.
Yep.
You're really selling me on
Well, they've had some, I think top speed 222, but I mean, those cars don't always show up either. Last year, I believe, was 194
194 miles.
out of a 69 Camaro.
Wow.
Speedway Motors, big place down in Lincoln, and we had been talking to him, they were gonna load up their cars and come up for the event too, but.
so then how do you position these spectators? Say if you had 300 people that want to watch these races,
So.
where do you place them?
That was
Because
one of the
Far away.
There's one spectator area at each one of them. You're, I'd say, over 100 feet off. Much over that.
probably close to 100 yards.
Big Blue Mile is the same way. You're a long ways back. I mean, you watch the cars; they don't even look like they're going that fast. And from that position, you can hardly hear them either. It's not a big spectator thing. It's
Are
more
they
so,
standing
it's
on
the
the
drivers
road?
going out and using their cars. No.
You're out in the field.
Oh, they're standing
Yeah.
on the landowner's side?
They're out back.
Okay.
So, yep, and
That's what
anybody starts walking forward to try to get video, they've got people over there moving them
And
back.
that's what Doug said too, that it's not a big spectator deal.
No, Sand Hills, you might get a couple hundred people there, and that's,
Big Blue Mile wasn't even that.
yeah.
That was another thing I suggested too, was to Doug, the question was the economic impact to the community. And there again, whenever, you know, the county sacrifices and then the sales tax revenue rolls into the city, it all goes around and around, and he said that he didn't think it would have a huge economic impact either as far as...
No, you're looking at, like I said, we'd max out at 100 people. You know, there'd be sponsors to get things up and going, but it's a $250 entry fee per car.
Well, I guess the chip sealing probably puts the big issue on it, and also the detour using township roads would have to be cleared. You know, there's two hurdles right there. I see that. You know, and that's why we have conversations. We find things that you've overlooked, and then we want to learn more about it.
Yep.
I think that would be something that has to be done. Is, you know, but you know, the other thing is if it's chip sealed, we know it's a done deal for this year. We can
Correct. But it, I mean, if possible for the future though, it doesn't sound like,
well,
not here, because
We
they
rely on-
have someone saying no regardless.
we rely on our highway superintendent. That's his department, you know.
Yep.
And, you know, we don't like to overrule our department heads that see issues.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't aware of that, you know, closing 4-mile stretch until Dirk said it, very seldom done unless it's actually where they're working on the road. And then I can see that if we close a 4-mile stretch from you, the next thing you know, how many other organizations start wanting this closed and that closed, and, you know, it sets a precedent. And every time we do something, it seems like that always happens.
Yep. Understandable. You know, we figured with, you know, the way on 16 there, it'd be easy enough. People can turn there, head south, take highway all the way to 12, but obviously not everybody is going that way. But a vast majority, if they're coming out of Columbia or something like that, they can easily take highway down to 12 because they're going into Aberdeen. But it's all understandable. If you ever come back and they're going to vote, you're going to want more than 3 here to give you better odds.
And a different three. And I would be open to it, but my thing is, I would like to see all the 15 landowners at least in the know about it, and have a majority of them say, I don't have a problem with that for 5 hours on one day if you want to do it, so that they're all aware of it, and then, like you said, the township.
Well,
So if you come back next time and you haven't given them a heads up and we got all these ducks in a row, I would be apt to give it a shot.
but if we got 50 people with land that say that's fine,
I think
and
the
we're
only one-
still worried, but we're worried about anybody that might possibly drive down that road, because we can't get approval from everyone that's possibly driving down it.
See, I would overlook that a little bit. To me, it's the people that are there all the time owning the land that I would be concerned about. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not concerned about the folks traveling, but if you have the detour for them and it's only 2 miles, to me that's huge. I thought you were going to go way further south, but, because I don't think Ordway, I think you're right, Ordway is going to have an issue.
What?
But if we get the ducks in a row, I'd be open to considering it again.
Okay. Now, I mean, are we better off just trying to completely find another stretch of land, of road here, or better off yet finding one out of the county? Because if we're not going to get approval,
I guess it wouldn't hurt if you checked without, I mean, it might give you a little better feel for where you're at with it if you checked it out at Edmonds County or...
Yeah, I would say we're not gonna do anything this year, so we've got time
Right,
to go explore that option and come back.
But I think when you do that, you want to check out if you're detouring through township roads, you've got to check with them.
township.
The landowners, I mean, you know, if you got 15 landowners, a good chance you're going to have some of them that are going to be negative towards it. I mean, that's just the numbers you play with in this kind of government type
Yeah, and
business.
if you've got 1 or 2 that say no, what do you do? What, you know, then you shut the whole thing down, or do you go ahead with it and over their wishes, you know, that's...
Well, that's
Yeah.
why your best option is to go to them first.
Yeah.
If they're in the know, they're more apt to know what's going on. Nobody wants to be the last to know and say this has come in their hood.
The other thing that I see is if this is on agricultural land, or where are you gonna put spectators without damaging crop?
Well, we're worried about bringing spectators. If that came in the future, it would be fine. This is pasture ground right here. So as long as there's, I don't know, horses, cattle, something like that in there, you know, but...
Those other counties might be able to find a landowner that owns all the land around there.
Right.
Right.
And that's a lot of like sand hills.
Right, yeah, that's basically all pasture ground down there, but I mean, the one road that they shut down for a race, that's 27 miles. But, you know, that's all helped the community. The town of Arnold has thrived off of the events that they put on down there. But,
like the salt flats of Utah.
yeah.
Well, thank you guys for putting all that together and
Did a great
bringing it
job,
to
thank
us.
you.
I think it'd be a fun event.
It is. It absolutely is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, we have Kathy, the auditor. Congratulations, Kathy, on
Yeah.
your second day at work.
Yeah, thank you.
We have a legislative update to personnel.
Yeah, I just wanted to update on House Bill 1178. I came in here last week and shared my opposition for it, and then went to Peter, and it was moved to the 41st day. Secretary of State and maybe 15 to 20 county auditors all showed up in their opposition, mainly for administrative reasons. The bill just didn't make sense with our current other voting laws. So. And then for personnel, I would like to ask for the option to have a second chief deputy to take on the responsibilities of payroll. And it would just be, I'll look internally to fill that.
And what was the salary? Are we moving some salary around or increasing or
A
just title?
rough number would be about 12,000 is all I would need, and I think the budget could probably absorb it. I sent you guys an email with
Yeah.
the details a couple weeks ago.
So we're not increasing staff, we're just putting more duties on, and you're asking for that particular
Yeah, and I
person to
think
be
it's
rewarded.
fair due to the professional nature of the work they're doing with the payroll to compensate the employees.
And that 12 will go for one position.
Because that's split between other.
No, just one person, and they will sort of be like lead on the payroll. They will become the expert on the payroll, and then train someone as backup.
Okay. So how's payroll going, since it's, the auditor, I mean?
Well, we didn't have any payroll issues yesterday. No, I think it's been going pretty well. There's still a few hiccups that we're working through, but we're getting organized with it.
Okay.
Now, there were some issues in Sundial as far as the entry and some sick leave, and some, did that all get resolved? Is everything flowing through all right now?
I'm
or-
not sure on
I
the,
think we're pretty much up to date, so.
we're still doing a few, the payroll was in here this week, you'll see a few adjustments between Sundial and the accounting system, but we're going to work with those department heads to try to get that straightened out so that employees are being entered into the right department from the get-go. And that's in reference to maybe like the weed and pest highway splits, or your jail, when they drive the inmates, I don't know what that's called.
Transport.
The transport, some of the blood drugs, stuff like that is just getting put into the wrong departments, and they're just assuming that it's going to get corrected, and it is getting corrected. But we need to work to make sure that it's corrected in the timekeeping system, so we're not having to journal entry or make accounting adjustments. And then once all that is resolved, we will look at our import.
So when you say budget can take it, are you going to be transferring from like which line items? Where are we long? You're just overall, you think it'll be okay?
I mean, I would hope so. We're just, yeah,
Take a little here, a little there?
hopefully.
So I guess the question I
But it would be
have,
permanent going forward in future years.
Sure.
if we send you the 12,000, for instance,
And that's just a round number.
Right, and let's say 6 months down the road, you say, well, I need to hire somebody else again. That's probably going to affect your hiring ability if we...
I'm not looking to add more employees at all,
Well,
even down the road.
well, it just depends on what happens, you never know what's going to happen 6 months or a year. Well, once you give
Yeah.
10 grand or 12 grand out to somebody, you can't take it back.
But
So,
I don't
mean,
think the issue here is, that's not the issue here. The issue here is compensating an employee fairly for the work they do. If you want to hire someone to run the payroll for the county, you need to pay them accordingly.
Well, I don't have a problem with it if you can figure out a way to work it within the budget and within your office. So I think go for it.
I mean, and I didn't create the budget for this year, but I'll just watch it real carefully. And I don't think it seems unreasonable.
I think if we get payroll and HR straightened out, I think it's a win-win-win success. We need to keep moving on it.
So you're going to make somebody a chief deputy.
That would be the goal, yes.
That wasn't before.
I mean, we can talk further about this in executive session if you'd like, but that is, I haven't talked to the staff about it.
I guess, I'm not opposed to it, but I think we probably need some more details and get more exactly what your plan is for that. Deputy, what you're looking at, collecting and that type of thing.
I guess I would move going to exec for personnel prior to voting, just some questions.
I have a
I'll
motion.
second.
A motion by Kippley, a second by Fiker to go into exec for personnel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are going
I'd
into
like to
exec.
do that. Lamborghini.
We are out of exec, and we have one motion to be made.
I would make a motion that we appoint Sarah Swisher as the second chief deputy auditor as requested by our new auditor.
And she accepts, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I would move that, or second that.
And she accepted already, so can we
Yeah.
make that effective today? Or does it have to follow pay period?
Pay
It'd be
period.
better if it was Mondays when starting the
Monday?
new
Yep,
payroll.
that's fine.
Otherwise, we're splitting
Be cleaner
wages.
that way.
Effective Monday.
We have a motion by Kipling to authorize Chief Deputy Sarah Swisher.
Yep, in addition to our current chief
Right.
deputy, there'll be two equal chiefs. Yep.
And I'll bet she'll be just perfectly fine waiting till Monday.
And we have a second by Dennis, and that would be beginning on Monday for the new payroll. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else to come before the commission?
Move adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Kipling, second by Pfeiffer to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you, guys.